What is happening, friends? Welcome back to another 6-1 Indie Showcase conversation. Mike here, along with Becca on the 6-1 Indie side of things. Hello, Becca.
Hello.
And we're joined by the person who made Becca cry a whole pool of tears, Ria from I Miss My Friends Studio, developers behind Fishbowl. Hi, Ria.
Hello. It's so
How are
nice to
you?
be here. I am really well. Today was like a long day of work. We were
Yeah,
testing our game, doing QA, so a little tired. It's like 9:30
sure.
over here in India, but
Oh my
super
God.
super excited to be here.
Well, thank you so much for staying up late. I apologize for the time difference.
No, it's totally fine. We're super like used to it as well.
Sure. I gotta say, I love the vibes of your room right now. The lights, like the fishbowl on the background, immaculate.
Thank you. So this is our home studio. We live in a tiny studio apartment. So our entire studio is basically two desks, which are over there. We have our bookshelf, and that's where we make fishbowl.
Amazing. I mean, like true indie. That's what it's all
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Before we like actually kick things off, I do want to like share some like behind the scenes stuff. So I think like we started first interacting maybe sometime last year. I think when we opened up submissions for the March showcase, and we all fell in love with Fishbowl behind the scenes. But because you guys were launching closer in 2025, we're like, okay, maybe we save it for this one and like make sure like we carve you guys out a spot in like a featured spot in this show, because like I want to make sure it's on people's minds like as close to launch as possible. And now like of course like the demo is public and people can actually go play it. So yeah, I'm so stoked that we are finally doing this, because it's been a long time coming, a way too long of a time coming.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. Thank you. Like, it was so lovely to receive that email from you just saying hi and that y'all actually played the game, because sometimes when we submit to things, it feels like it's going
Yeah,
into this void, right?
into
Like,
the void.
if,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it was super, super special. And both Pratik and I have been watching your showcases and all the dev
Oh,
interviews and
thank
stuff
you.
that y'all do. So yeah, we're fans, big fans.
Apologies for any of the jokes that me and Kyle write. It's there's some stuff in the new one. Never mind. We'll anyways, this is about you. Please, to kick things off, tell us about yourself, tell us about the studio, your history as a game dev, and of course Fishbowl. Have at it.
Ye- Yeah, for sure. So I have a non-existent history as a game dev. Fishbowl is our very first game.
True indie.
Before true indie. Before this, I had a super long career, like over a decade in photography in the fashion and fine art space. I used to
Oh,
also
cool.
work as a sustainability consultant for a pretty long time, like both things together, and I'd also write throughout. But since I was a kid, I was super into storytelling and world building, and as a kid I obviously didn't know what any of that was called, so I used to just be making my own characters, making all these like fantastical worlds and universes and having them be a certain way, speak a certain way. I used to even design like my own font like in my sketchbook, and like, oh, this is like the font of the world. So I was very interested in storytelling in general, and both Pratik and I, it was our dream since a very long time to make our own indie game someday. So that manifestation has been like a long time in the making. But we finally decided to start on the journey during the pandemic, actually, like halfway through the pandemic in 2021. All our work travel had stopped, and we thought that it would be it like, let's give it a shot and see what we can do together, because we were finally spending time with each other for a very long period of time, which wasn't possible before. And yeah, that's how the idea of Fishbowl came up as well. It's about a girl who's living by herself in isolation while grieving her grandmom's death. But yeah, we'll talk more about that in a bit.
I'm curious. You mentioned you come from the photography world. Has What was that transition like going from photography to game dev? Because obviously it's kind of like it's still a creative like outlet, but like kind of two different skill sets. Obviously, like you have an eye for like how to block images, and I'm sure that comes in handy when it comes to like the actual aesthetic of Fishbowl and some of the blocking of the scenes. But I'm curious how that translation process was for you.
Yeah. So I think with photography, I used to also work as like a stylist and a set designer, so I think that
Cool.
really helped in the compositions, the color palette, even like character design and styling the characters and the like environmental storytelling, because I could kind of figure those things out in a very sort of, it was something I kind of knew, even though this is in a completely different medium. um, but apart from that, I think just storytelling has been such a core part of my creative process, that that was quite the same throughout game development as well. But because game development has so many disciplines all together, it was a huge learning experience for both Pratik and me. So I think since like 2019 we've been watching like all the talks that we could get our hands on, all the tutorials,
Yeah.
like GDC, GDOC, even GameIndustry.biz, like just read everything, like just, kind of become sponges to just get an idea of everything that is out there, and try to kind of cultivate our own sense of like, when we make our own indie game, what should it be like, what can we do together as a two-person team, because that is something that we were pretty like sure about, that we just wanted it to be like super indie, two people. So yeah, that was like of course the challenging part. And in many ways there's not much similarity in photography and game development really, apart from probably like the visual aspects of it. But just generally being a writer, both as a hobbyist and professionally, really helped. So yeah, but still that's also very different from like narrative design and
Oh, totally.
writing dialogues for characters. So I think for both of us it's like the first time we're doing this, so we're just trying to learn as much as possible. And when we think that, oh my god, is how is this going to come together, or is this going to be like super like terrible when we put it together, it just helps to know that this is like the first thing that we're working on, and there'll be a next time hopefully to really improve our skills and just get better at it.
I mean, you're on the right track. Don't worry.
Yay.
You're doing great for your first project. It's funny,
Thank
like
you.
I before Six One Indie, I come from like the audio and film world. Like I used to be in film production, audio production, and similar to you, like during the pandemic is when we like properly started Six One, and it was kind of the same process of like,
Oh,
okay, how the hell could I potentially
yeah.
transfer these skills into writing, building a website, and yeah, it's just funny how we're sort of on the same path.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I think, yeah, a lot of skills kind of help each other out. That's for sure. Yeah, they do
Yeah.
overlap. Like all our trailers, like we cut them ourselves. So, like, because video editing is part of like photography as well, because you do end
Oh
up
yeah.
getting videography assignments alongside it. So, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely comes in handy. Like on our side of things, it comes in
Yeah.
handy to cut a
Yeah.
showcase together.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us learn in that way that you described, where you just are like Googling everything that you possibly can.
Yep.
Like when you're learning a new skill, you're just absorbing from anyone and everyone. And that's a great way to
Yes.
learn.
Yes, for
So.
sure. For sure.
Okay, so let's talk about Fishbowl. This was actually the when we had finalized all of our choices, this was the first demo that I got my hands on, and it was the first demo that I was like, this is going to be such a good showcase. Like it's just incredible.
Oh,
You kind of already answered my first question, which was about kind of the inspiration behind the game and the isolation element, because the main character is kind of alone in her apartment. Um, but so let me ask you, she has a job as a video editor for a popular streamer, and this is something that, like, in my mind, video editing can be kind of repetitive. It's like kind of the same thing over and over. So how did you guys decide on making it this kind of like exciting and fun little mini game? What made you guys decide to go with video editing in general for her job?
yeah. So for sure, video editing can be so like tedious, and you really get sucked into it, and you can just keep reorganizing and redoing your files over and over again. So we just wanted to kind of reimagine what video editing would be like if it was an arcade style game, like you would be kind of sorting the clips into a particular way, and then yeah, we just wanted it to be fun, because that's like her everyday job. So the player will also be engaging with it over and over again as like a repetitive thing. And the way we also want to make sure that the game is interesting is that you keep meeting her work colleagues in the game, and each of them come with like their own drawbacks and their own abilities. So that adds a level of like both complexity as well as excitement to the video editing game. And we also came up with video editing because we wanted to sort of explore this side of content creation and streamers and YouTubers, and how that whole world is looks so glamorous from the outside, but some of them do have these really big teams working for them, and it's a lot of hard work. So we wanted to kind of have that perspective of like that office culture and what goes on there and what kind of characters you can meet. And yeah, she works for this huge like streamer slash social media star, and yeah, what that dynamic could be like.
Because sixoneindie doesn't have a big team, it's the reason I'm bald and have bags under my eyes. If only I could do the video editing minigame in real life.
Yeah, her coworkers are super cute too. I think we just meet one of her coworkers in the demo, but
Yeah.
yeah, she's clearly got everything figured out. She's
Yeah.
great. I love her.
Yeah. Oh, yay. I love that. I love all the Menguzonyo love, and it's a very hard name to pronounce, and it's actually inspired by a very close friend of mine. So I'm like, okay, everybody try and get the name right, because my friend is going to call me like, everyone's ruining my name.
Along with the video editing mini game, there was a couple of other things, like a couple of other little mini games that we played in the game. Can we expect to see kind of more of these like classic feeling mini games? Because there was one where you were like sorting through your stuff, and like it was kind of like those classic sliding puzzle games. Are we going to expect to see a little bit more of those mini games?
Yeah, so the video editing game and the unpacking puzzle game, they are sort of like the core gameplay mini games in Fishbowl, and both of them will have complexity as you keep progressing in the story. So the unpacking game, for example, will have more difficult and simpler puzzles depending on how the sentimentality of the objects works for each one of them. So we're trying to show in the unpacking game mainly objects as storytellers, and each one has a story to tell. They take you back into Alo's childhood where you can revisit her memories. And also, we want to, as much as possible, explore Indian handicraft and culture through these objects, and try to draw like a parallel over there to how most grandparents, and I would say Indian grandparents in particular, have this habit of really collecting all these things over the years. So it's so easy to hear like your grandparents say that, oh, this is something I had like since like 30 years, 40 years. So it's all these things which have collected so many memories and have so much history to them. And you get to sort of sort through them and get to, as you sort through these puzzles, you also get to put together puzzle pieces of Alo's life, because they'll be told to you not necessarily in a linear way. So but you do get to know like different parts of what happened through her life, and you get to make a connection to the present as well through that.
I do want to touch on something you just mentioned there because I think it's like pretty dang important, and I really love that you guys are getting like the amount of attention you guys are getting for specific. Well, first off, because you're lovely human beings, but specifically for this reason, it's kind of rare, especially in like the mainstream indie scene, if you want to call it that, or even the AAA scene, that general audiences get to truly experience authentic Indian culture or just global culture in general. Like between you guys and even our showcase that from today, Akyam is like implementing Bollywood in like their combat system and their narrative. And I always think about Toge Productions with Indonesian culture. Yeah, I guess like how does it feel like getting the attention that you guys have been getting, like through like support from PlayStation and whatnot? And how has that reaction been for just like purely the cultural side of things so far?
Yeah, it's been really how can I put it? Mm, so we were very confident about the story that we wanted to tell. So it was like, even if nobody kind of believes in this game, so when we started like the pitching process to publishers, platforms, etc., we were gonna continue making Fishbowl part-time, like even if it took like forever to kind of finish it. That was basically our idea. So idea and our goal. But the overwhelming support that Fishbowl has already received within the development journey just makes it so evident that there is so much hunger for stories that are told from all across the world, so much support for stories which are um, really diving into themes, aspects, cultures which aren't seen as much of. So it's been, we feel super super grateful for all of it, and it just increases our confidence even more to continue on this path, because these are stories that are authentic to us, like the way people talk to each other in the game, the way um, you interact with certain objects, or even like in the demo there were players who spotted like the small nuances, like the mom asking saying that she's just going to get the clothes inside when it starts raining, which is such a common thing in Southeast Asian and South Asian countries, where a lot of times you hang clothes out to dry. We
Yeah.
don't really have like washer dryers at home, so it's like so many small details that we're adding, not even with that intention that, oh, this has to be Indian or like culturally relevant, but it's just our culture. Like it's just
Yeah.
how we are in life. And for people to notice that and appreciate that and support it, it just means a lot. And there is such a developing this, like a huge beautiful indie scene here in India, and we love to see it develop. There's so many indie games made out of here which are slowly and surely like getting that support from the industry, and they're getting the opportunity to be part of all these showcases. So I think each one really matters, and each one takes the other game forward as well, you know. So, and yeah, we're huge fans of Toge Productions, Mojiken Studios. Like we've
Oh,
followed
Mojigan's the
most,
best.
yeah, we followed like most of their development journeys for years. And even their, we met the devs at Bit Summit last year, which was so amazing, and we got to like chat with them and just discuss things. And yeah, we have very similar stories in that sense, and it's nice to have that kind of resonance.
Yeah, I met Eka at PAX West last year, and like I don't really like fangirl, but man, I fangirled over him.
Yeah. So I have like a small, like a short, very sweet story. So Dimas, the person who made, the developer who made a space for the Unbound, which is one
Another
of
person I
my
fangirled over when
favorite
I met him.
favorite game. It's such a beautiful game, such an amazing story. So he actually came up to our booth at Bit Summit, and I asked him if he wants to like play the Fishbowl demo, and he did. And the most special part was that after he finished playing the demo, I of course asked him for feedback. But apart from that, he made this little aloe and paplet like
Oh
little
my
artwork
god.
like in just a few seconds. And I like have it framed. Like I love that so much, and is I'm just so grateful for it. Yeah, even to just
He,
have these opportunities.
he's the sweet. I mean, all of
Yeah,
them, Mojigan and Toge, and like
yeah,
everybody involved. They're just the sweetest human beings. Like
for sure, for sure.
as a jaded New Yorker, it's it's very yeah, it's very good. It's necessary like breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Becca take the next question as my cats are fighting over Lego pieces.
Oh, hi, cats.
I saw him walking back behind him. So cute. Well, since we were talking about having good friends, I also wanted to ask, your guys' Steam page mentions that Fishbowl is going to have a lot of characters, and then there's going to be branching conversations. Could you tell us a little bit about how the conversations are going to work and what kinds of people will meet in the game?
Oh, yeah, sure. No one's actually asked me this before, so I'm wondering like how much should I tell you?
Yeah, yeah.
So you do meet Alo's childhood friends. So you already meet one of them in the demo. Her name is Zuari, and you get to have like a short chat with her. You get to meet Alo's mom in the demo as well. That's how the demo actually starts. You also get to meet a bunch of her work colleagues, and so Fishbowl has multiple endings, and there's multiple ways to get to those endings, and there's branching conversations with each of the characters. um, the way we've designed the narrative of the game, it's not just like the direct answers that you give to the characters, like answers or responses that you give to the characters that counts, but it's also like the overall choices and decisions that you make even within the house, within the dream world. And they all sort of have a combined sort of an effect, but some of them are more straightforward. So, for example, if at work you do well or you don't really do so well, you have a response in accordance to from your team and from your colleagues at work. Um, yeah, does that answer the question?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because you really just get to meet her coworker and her best friend. So yeah, I was just kind of curious how that might work as we get further into the game.
Yes.
So one of the items that Elo receives from her grandmother is, of course, the fish toy that is the title of the game. And I was curious if you guys have any toys from your childhood that always reminds you of some happy memories from your childhood.
Hmm. I don't think I have any right now. Like, I don't think, unfortunately, I have anything from my, like, a toy from my childhood. I have photographs and stuff like that, but I do remember this one toy that I had as a kid. It was like the stuffed pillow, and the entire pillow was basically a face, and it had like hands and legs sticking out of the face. So I think it's quite like a creepy toy now that I think about it. But it was like I was inseparable like from that toy. I was always carrying it around with me. And yeah, and now that I think about it, it's a little bit like Paplet, which is like cute as well as a bit creepy. Like it has both those
That's the
vibes.
90s and early 2000s in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the vibe for sure.
Yeah.
All right, I just have one more question. So since I was doing a deep dive on the Steam page, since I'll just like absorb as much content as possible until the game comes out. I saw that Fishbowl is going to encourage players to not only focus on work, but to also practice self-care, like cleaning the house and things like that, rather than focusing just on her work life or her memories with her grandmother. Why did you guys find it important to have these other moments where she was having some kind of downtime and practicing self-care?
I feel like this is
Mm.
specifically targeted at me, so thank you, Becca.
You're welcome.
Um, so how we thought about the experience in Fishbowl is that we would have players really live a month with Alo in that house and experience everything that happens within that period of time. So even though life goes on and you have work and you have some horrible things happening, there's just life things that you also have to do, and you just have to sort of continue doing them. So that's quite similar to how playing Fishbowl uh, kind of feels like. You still have to like take care of yourself, you have to take care of your home, and those are the things that we kind of incorporated into the game. um, yeah, it's a little bit more, a little bit like adulting, and you are now a responsible adult. And if you're like, oh, the cat is so cute.
They're little terrors.
Yeah, you're a responsible adult and you have to figure these things out on your own. But the thing that we have also paid attention to is that we didn't want to force anything on the players, and we wanted to give them um, the freedom to do as much or as little as they are able to, and give them consequences in accordance. Because we also felt like we didn't want to kind of dictate somebody's gameplay style. So if people wanted to just do like the main missions or like tasks for the day and just move ahead with the story, that's perfectly fine. And if you want,
Mhm.
if you're like me and you want to interact with like every single piece of furniture and object and like interact with every single thing, then that's fine too. Like you can take your time. There are no like forced day and night cycles either in Fishbowl. So you can just play the demo even for a while if you'd like, and
Mhm.
some people can just finish it in like a pretty short period of time.
Nice. Ria, I have one final question for you, and there's no right or wrong answer. You
Okay.
could be direct. You could talk about the business side of things. You could talk about the vibes. What does indie mean to you?
What does indie mean to me? So it means a few things, I would say. Like, firstly, like just being able to make our own indie game and tell our own story in our way. It feels kind of like a dream because we thought about this for so long, and it's a very difficult journey to embark on. Like, we didn't start making a game because we didn't think there would be like financial security in this path, and just being super real with ourselves, and really delaying it for as long as we could to make sure that we have like our savings and things like that figured out. So it, I think it's like a dream, but it has a lot of hard work attached to it, and it's also important to do it very sustainably because these projects go on for years and years. So I
Yeah.
think all of those things together, I think it's a bit like a lot of contradictions actually all together. Like, you're having so much fun making the game, but you're really stressed as well that, oh, are you going to be able to finish it in time? But yeah, just having like a good production schedule and not um like indulging in all your scope creep ideas, and keeping yourself like humble in like, okay, let's just finish this and then see what we can do, is like a good way, I think. So yeah, I think that's what indie would mean to me in a
Yeah.
nutshell.
You somehow answered it in both the business way and the vibe way, so I commend you on that. That is actually the correct answer. There you go. You win.
Yay. Yay.
Ria, thank you so much for hanging out with us for a bit today, especially since it's late over there. Really, really do appreciate it. Again, like it's so wonderful to finally actually talk and not type or interact over email or tweets or whatever it may be. So yeah, thank you so much. And honestly, like outside of showcase stuff, even just as fans, gamers, whatever, we can't wait for Fishbowl, and I'm super proud of the work you guys are doing. In awe of what you guys are doing. So yeah, appreciate it greatly.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us, and thank you for featuring Fishbowl. Like, it's such a big honor for us, and we
No.
really, really appreciate it. And yeah, we're super excited to watch the showcase. It's gonna be super fun. Um,
Hopefully,
yeah, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
as he says, as he hasn't started the edit on, he a little late,
The
whatever.
video
He will.
editing, the
He
video
will.
editing level is up.
I'm still downloading trailers and checking to make sure assets are here. I'm very
I
late. Before we close things off, please plug away. Where can people follow you, the studio, play the demo, all that good stuff?
Yes, you can play the Fishbowl demo if you search for it on Steam. If you search for Fishbowl, you will get the Fishbowl Steam page. If you search for Fishbowl demo, you'll get this new updated Steam page, which Steam has just launched like a few weeks ago, where you can also leave us a review. That would be super helpful. And you can find all our socials on imissmyfriends.studio. That's our website. You can find our Twitter, Instagram, Discord, um, all of that on our website.
Awesome. I was rolling my eyes at Steam. We love Valve and changing things at the last minute, especially during a showcase cycle. And yeah, of course, you go over to sixoneindie.com/showcase, click the beautiful Fishbowl key art and all the links and all the places. You can find it all there. Ria, thank you so much again.
Thank
Becca,
you.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Mike.
you.
Thank you, Becca. It was so lovely chatting with both of you.
Everyone listening, everyone watching, I think we have like 17 of these interviews currently up on the website. Chances are you didn't watch all of them. So go on over to 61indie.com/showcase and watch the next one. I'll catch you over there. Goodbye. Goodbye, cats.
Bye
Thank you for interrupting.
bye.